Think about it. There is no situation or oppression too great for God's hand to reach in and turn it around completely. But the Lord does nothing unless he first reveals it to his servant, the prophet.
The northern part of Sudan. A newness comes and it amazes people.
President Omar Al-Bashir has been forced out of power by the country's military. The army has dissolved the government.
30th September 2014.
The northern part of Sudan. Something emerges once again and it destabilizes the leader in that part of Sudan. Destabilizes him, and all of a sudden there's transformation happening there. And this shaking comes and there's like a hiding taking place and a destabilization, and what has been known as a stronghold of Islam is broken, and the Spirit of God says, a newness comes and it amazes people because there is a peace that crosses over the land, and it is divided but not divided. Again, I'm talking about that nation, says the Lord, and the Lord says, I am the cause of the destabilization. I am the cause of it, says the Spirit of the Lord.
4.5 years later, the prophecy unfolded precisely as prophesied, with the sudden removal of long-standing North Sudan President Al-Bashir dominating news headlines.
Sudanese dictator Omar Al-Bashir has been overthrown and arrested after almost 3 decades in power. Months of demonstrations intensified when the army took the side of the protesters.
It is important to note that the prophecy highlights northern Sudan and something emerging once again that destabilizes the leader there. And central to the crumbling of President al-Bashir's rule are peaceful civilian protests.
The sudden tripling of the cost of bread sparked the initial protests, but they quickly turned into anti-government rallies calling for the resignation of al-Bashir. The uprisings serve as a continuation of the 2013 anti-government protests, in which dozens were killed.
Something emerges once again, and it destabilizes the leader in that part of Sudan.
True to the accuracy of the prophetic word, the anti-government protest rallies that overthrew President Bashir's government were a continuation of the 2013 protests that were initially unsuccessful.
The uprisings serve as a continuation of the 2013 anti-government protests, in which dozens were killed.
The prophecy mentioned a sudden transformation that comes as a result of this. The intensity of civilian protests in northern Sudan caused such a shaking in Bashir's government that the military intervened, taking over power from President al-Bashir.
This out of Sudan. After 30 years in power, President Omar al-Bashir has been forced out of power by the country's military. Al-Bashir was told by his security chiefs that there was no alternative but to step down, and he went quietly.
The prophecy spoke of a hiding taking place, and news reports reveal an attempt by President al-Bashir to hide his crumbling regime. The prophecy also spoke of a newness that amazes people because its peace crosses over the land and it is divided but not divided. And this can be seen by the ongoing peaceful dialogue between the civilian protesters and the military in the peaceful discussion to form a transitional government in the quest for the new leadership. News reports indicate the civilian protests have seen the peaceful removal of President al-Bashir and the interim military leader, and currently peaceful negotiations are ongoing between the military and peaceful civilian protesters over a transitional government. In our midst is a prophet whose caliber is of the highest distinction. He has enacted God's will for the course of nations. His authority has appointed and uprooted major leaders and presidents all over the globe. His foresight of major world events to come is unprecedented, characterized by a precision and accuracy that comes to pass to the very last detail. And for those of us who witness these prophecies declared and come to pass exactly as foretold, we, with undisputed celebration and jubilation, accord double honor to one chosen by God, prophet to the nations, Prophet Elvis Mbonye.